Metro Ghetto.
Hi everybody, welcome to this week's Ghetto vlog. Loads to be cracking on with this week, including 2 separate game hunts. But before we can do that, before we can open the parcels that I've got stacked up in the back of the room, we need to get tidied up. This is all still here from our setting up for Wednesday's thumbnail. If you haven't checked that video, make sure you check it out, because there's quite a few things I want to say about that and some of the comments that we received, so we'll get into that a little bit later on as well. But yeah, before we can do anything, let's get the 3.0 tidied up. Okay, now the room's tidy. My ass crack has been put away. Let's get into the couple of parcels that we have got. So, one I believe is a gift and one is a purchase, and it's quite a monumental special purchase at that. So we'll start with the gift, shall we? Let's get into it. Oh, it says fragile and I've just thrown it on the floor. Right, okay, so we've got a note firstly. Hi mate, please accept these games for your collection as a thank you for all the great content you have provided us. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that, Paul. Thank you very much, my friend. Nice bit of CEX recycled Yami wrap. What have we got? So we've got like 2 games, I think. Oh, nice. We've got a nice sleeve cover. Don't think I own this one. Awesome. So this is Final Fantasy 13. But yeah, it's all about that sleeve cover, right? Love that. Love that. It's crazy how much I enjoy cardboard, isn't it? I'm a 37-year-old man. Still gets excited by bits of cardboard overlapping a plastic cover. I don't know what it is, but yeah, really nice artwork on this one. My Final Fantasy, like, history is slim to none. I think I played a little bit of, was it 4? In the West, I get confused because obviously some different numbers in Asia compared to what they are here and in America. But there was one that came out on the Switch when the Switch online service went up. And I played a little bit of that, but it's turn-based, isn't it? So these sort of later action RPGs are probably more for me. So let me know if there's one that you guys recommend. The latest one looks fantastic. Is it 16? That looks really good, and I have been tempted to play that one. Or it might be worth just playing the remasters, just jumping into like 7. I've got 7 on the PS1. I don't know if it's worth me just jumping into like the PS5 version and maybe starting my Final Fantasy quest there. Oh, lovely. Oh, Paul, you've spoiled me, man. Love this. So we've got a nice steelbook of Gears of War 3. Now you don't see this one too often. I think it's the Gears of War 2 one I see quite a lot, that quite chunky tin. And it puts me off, it's a bit too big. And this is in a really nice protector as well. So this will definitely come in handy. So yeah, got the Gears of War 3 steelbook. And it's interesting that he sent me this actually, because I actually started playing this week. I'm only like a couple of hours in. This was just like an omission from my Gears of War completion. I've done 1 and 2. My friend Manesh, shout out to Manager Extraordinaire, my local CX Manesh, he told me 3 is his favourite, so I've always been intrigued. So yeah, I'm a couple of hours in, so I'll let you guys know how I get on with that. But what I love about steelbooks that don't come with sleeve covers, it's got to have the writing on the spine, right? And this is what you want. So it's got the 360 logo, it's got the writing on the spine. So yeah, if you're not going to have a sleeve cover or anything, this is the way you want to go. So yeah, massive shout out to Paul for that, mate. Much appreciated. Really happy with both of those 360 editions. And if you watch Wednesday's video, you'll know that we might have to be taking things off the shelves. We're not quite there yet. We have still got a bit of space. Right, okay, and that takes me to this bad boy. So, this, I believe, has come all the way from the Netherlands. So you can probably guess, this has come from my good friend Misha. Misha is an absolute legend. He's helped me out so much with the PS3 Essentials. I think he sent me like 30 or so that he managed to get from the Netherlands and surrounding countries like Germany. And he's always very generous. He never just sends me what I'm aware of, because it even says on the customs charge here. It says game and chocolate, so slight element of surprise gone, but with Misha it's not a surprise anyway that he's gone above and beyond. So let's see what's in here. Wow. Okay. So before we get into the game, he sent me some stuff, man. You guys are killing my waistline, honestly. So we have got whatever these are, bonbons. These are like some sort of like hard sweets. Oh, these things are awesome, man. I think these are like a smaller version of what he sent me last time. He sent me like a big bag of these. They're like caramel sort of wafers. Mini stroop waffle. Sorry to any Dutch people watching. Sorry, guys. But yeah, these are awesome, man, with a cup of tea. Shout out for that. And then we've also got heart sprinkled syrup waffles. So basically like chocolate with hearts on. So yeah, I'm feeling the love right now. So shout out to not only Misha, but also his good lady wife. Just fantastic people. But here is the main event. So this is what I bought and paid for. And Manesh and Misha. So this is what I bought and paid for. And Misha kindly grabbed this for me. And that is Grid Auto Sport. So this is one that I'd already accounted for because I knew I'd had this for a couple of weeks. So we still have 3 that I need now in person to get that set complete. Like, it feels unreal that we're getting so close. So I think Vanquish is sorted. I think Vanquish is coming. And the same might be said for the Cartel. So it's Call of Juarez, the Cartel. I think that one's secured as well. So that just leaves FIFA 17. If anybody out there can help me with PS3 Essentials, FIFA 17, let me know. To my best guess, or to the Ghetto Gang's best guess, it's a South African exclusive. There is one available on South African Gumtree. I registered to South African Gumtree. I contacted the seller. He refused to send it to the UK. So if there's anybody out there watching in South Africa, if you want to help a guy out, let me know, right? But yeah. Massive shout out as always to Misha, and yeah, another one to have in the possession. Yeah, man, absolutely delighted with that. So I'm gonna finish my tea, probably eat some of these Stroop and waffle. Right, okay, so next time you see me, if I haven't choked, we should be out game hunting. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so my first hunt of the week sees me in my childhood city of Derby. I think we're going to go to Mobile Game Exchange first. I've had a lot of look there in recent times. Then CEX, also there's Retro World. But with me having like a renewed focus, and I want to be paying attention to Nintendo Switch, I might hit up Game as well, and maybe even a Smith's Toys on the way out if we've got time, just to see if there's any sales. Often what you'll find is when they have like the Amazon Prime sale, a lot of big shops follow suit and they do their own sales as well. So it's going to be worth checking out. But yeah, man, sun shining. Let's go. Well, that was a great start. I came out with the hope of finding 2 games for the PlayStation, and in the first stop, they had one of them. So
Can't ask for much more than that. Right, now on to CEX, and let's hope the run continues. Okay, so that is the first of 2 game hunts done for the week, and yeah, I think I might have said on the footage, like, I love it when a plan comes together, but it wasn't really a plan. It was more sort of luck and hope. I went out with 2 games in mind which I wanted to pick up. I never thought I'd find them both on what is a relatively small hunt in the local city of Derby, but yeah, somehow we found them both. So yeah, really happy with that. And I think what we're going to have to do is do them in reverse pickup order. So we're going to start with what I picked up lastly at Retro World. Now, I was looking in Retro World with some weird and wonderful stuff. Sadly, I didn't come away with that copy of Fat Man. I have never seen that game before, and the gameplay did not disappoint when I've seen that. But yeah, I didn't come away with a copy of Fat Man, and I didn't think I was going to pick anything up actually. I was looking at some of the more obscure Super Nintendo games that I don't own. But I didn't really want to be paying 40 quid for like Chess Master. Obviously at some point I'm going to have to, but it wasn't really something I wanted to do today. And then on the way out I saw it. So they've got this fantastic old PlayStation 1 promo piece, and it holds, I think, 10 games that they would have had in old stores back in the day to highlight the top 10 PS1 games. I've asked him many times if he'll sell it, and he won't, so, you know, there's no chance of that. But yeah, it was on the way out that I saw that, and that's when I noticed the game that I've been after. And that is a game which I saw a YouTube video on a couple of weeks ago now saying, is this like one of the most underrated PlayStation 1 games? And graphically, it just looks like everything I want from that era of gaming, right? They stuck to 2D, and I love 2D PS1 games. And that is The Adventures of Alundra. Known throughout the rest of the world as just Alundra, this 1997 Matrix Software developed action-adventure RPG was published by the legendary Working Designs. The game's protagonist is unsurprisingly named Alundra, and he learns that he has the power to enter people's dreams. And after he's shipwrecked on a remote desert island, he's able to help the locals that have been suffering from recurring nightmares that have even caused death. The gameplay here has an emphasis on exploration, puzzle solving, as well as real-time combat and platforming. And as you guys will have seen, this game visually looks absolutely fantastic. This was widely regarded as being PS1's version of Zelda, and obviously you can see why with the sort of camera angle, the fantastic art style, and yeah, this game just looks brilliant. One of them games that when you look at the reviews, it's just gone down as an instant classic. It's got sort of 9s and 10s throughout the board when you look at the reviews, and this is one of them games that I'm surprised isn't even more expensive than it is. At CEX, it's £35. And there's actually a few copies in stock, which surprises me for an RPG which is supposed to be this good. They had this at £50 in that display. And I did say to him, it's a little bit too much for me, mate. Obviously, I don't expect you to match CEX pricing, but I'd bet I might as well just order it. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll do you for 40. So, I mean, that ends up being, what, £2 more than it would be to get this posted from CEX. And not only that, this thing is in fantastic condition. So you can see on the front, it does have that sticker which says it's got the free inside hints, tips and cheats book, which it has. It's also got the manual. Everything's in really nice condition here. So yeah, definitely worth paying that extra few quid, right, to get a real nice copy. And yeah, just one of them games that's gone very high on my list of games to play, let me tell you. I really need to start utilising my PS2 TV more. So I think this might be one that we're going to play tonight because I'm really interested and intrigued to see how this one plays out. And if you think the character looks familiar, this is actually an unofficial sequel to Landstalker on the Mega Drive. So the character almost looks identical, similar sort of camera angle and gameplay as you'll be seeing. But yeah, not an official sequel, but basically a betterment of that Mega Drive game. So yeah, really, really happy to go out and find a game that I've been after. And that takes me to this next one, which is a positive and a minus. So you've got to remember, I picked this one up first. And that is Alundra 2. Now in my mind, I couldn't understand why Alundra is like a £40 game. And Alundra 2 is like a £15 game. So we found this in Mobile Game Exchange. And I thought, yes, I found one. Picked it up, and in my mind I'm thinking, well, I can't really play the second one first. Obviously what I want to do is be able to play the first one, but I'll pick it up, grab it for the shelf, and then once I get the first one I'll be able to play that. But yeah, this is Alundra 2. This was a very late release on the PlayStation's life cycle. It came out in the year 2000, and I think at that point people were sort of hyped on the PS2, so the PS1 wasn't getting as much love. And then I started to see why this game doesn't cost as much. So this one is Activision as opposed to Working Designs, and as you've seen, they tried to go 3D, polygonal, man. I basically ruined it. Like, I didn't know. I'd only ever seen the gameplay footage for the first Alundra. And like, the art style is really similar on the box, right? That sort of cartoon image, and yeah, it's just a shame because I've watched a couple of reviews on this since, and by all accounts, it's an okay game, but it's nothing compared to the first one. So that would explain the disparity in the price between the two. It's just a shame they didn't make a game similar in style to the first one, but obviously this era, year 2000s, they kind of had to go 3D, right? But yeah, apparently this game does not measure up to the first one in any shape or form. So yeah, I don't know. Now I feel a bit torn, right? Because the PS1's supposed to be all killer, no filler, but then I feel like if I'm going to have Alundra, I need Alundra 2. Do you know what I mean? And then that the collector element's taking over me again, but we'll see. I'll play them both before I make decisions on what is killer and what is filler. But obviously it's nice to find both the games that I went out of there with the intention to find. But yeah, we might end up playing this one tonight. But also, as well as those, I should have my Amazon Prime Day deal orders arriving today. As I said on Wednesday's video, ordered a couple of Switch games, which I'm really excited about as well. So it's going to be a real tough decision to work out what I'm going to play tonight. But I'm going to crack on, do a couple of bits in here, and I'll let you guys know once those Amazon deals arrive. Okay, so we're going to turn our attention to the Ghetto Gym. I've had a lot of people asking me how progress is going, and the honest answer is it's stalled, if not come to a halt, for a couple of different reasons. Firstly, the weather has been really inconsistent. We've had rain, sun, rain, sun. Really, you need consistently dry days. Also, with me having had a chest infection, I've not been out here using it much, so I haven't had the impetus over the last couple of weeks. And also, a pharmacist told me, with having had a chest infection, that hay fever can trigger flare-ups in any respiratory issues. So yeah, I've not really been going out my way to spend hours and hours outside, but I'm starting to feel a lot better. The weather seems, touch wood, to be okay. It seems dry. So firstly, I want to give you guys a quick update. The Seeker Fast Fix has done a brilliant job. Normally by now I'd have sort of 6 to 10 inches of weeds piling high everywhere. We do have the odd one, which with weeds is inevitable, but compared to where we were before, I'll take that. But we do now have a bigger issue. Ants. We've got ants, as you can see, and they've made such a mess. They've dug through the Seeker Fast Fix here. Last time I came out here, there was thousands of them. They're obviously back in their hole at the moment. So they've just created a mess because they've pushed all this dirt through the gaps. Those gaps in turn can create weeds again. So yeah, the plan today is to try and crack on. Well, first things first, we're going to clean up, try and get rid of the weeds and the ants. We need to cut the hedge. We need to paint again, and generally get tidied up. Hopefully in a position where we're not too far away from being able to repaint the floor. So yeah, let's crack on. Okay, so that's as much cleaning and prep as I can do. Let's paint. Right, 1 down, 2 to go. Okay, so the white is done. Fence is looking fresh. I also touched up bottom of the wall here because this was sort of all splashed by the Seeker Fast Fix, as you can see there. And the reason I've only gone so far is because what I think I'm going to do is do the floor in sections. So when I come to do the floor, I'll do like these first 3 tiles, and I think that's how I'm going to do it. So I've sort of just painted that line to where I'm going to do the floor. Don't worry about it not being neat, that's just because where it meets the floor, that'll be neatened up with the dark grey. So now what I want to get done is the light grey. So we're doing a quick slap some paint on the light grey areas, and then yeah, consider this section done. Okay, that's all painted and it is looking fresh. Might not come through on camera because how bright it is, but yeah, that whole side is now looking fresh. I'll let this dry, we'll get Sagat and Ryu put back in place. But yeah, I think what this has done as much as anything is spur me on, give me that impetus. Now I've made a forward step to get the whole thing done. Like I say, next time we come out, I'll probably work on sections of the floor. The floor doesn't just need painting, it needs sealing to hopefully stop it becoming like this again. But like I say, yeah, taking that first step gives me that impetus to keep going, so happy with that. But the sun is shining and it is hot out here for a man with a bald head, so I'm calling it a day. I've had to nip into my locals. So we're going to do the usual CEX charity shop, see what we can find. So guys, I caught cash generators slipping. Delighted with this pickup. So yeah, you'd have seen in the footage, this cost me just £9. I think CX is selling this for £18 currently. I think there's been a few price increases recently on PS1, and I'm pretty sure this is one of them. However, that only tells part of the story. I already own this game, so you might be wondering, why did I pick up this version? Well, if you can see, they look slightly different. This is the holographic insert version. I can get it out. There we go. Struggling to come through on camera, but this is like a holographic. You can see his cape moving. It's described as holographic, but to me it looks sort of in between holographic and lenticular. But yes, this is quite a sought after version. eBay, a lot of listings between sort of £40 and £50. Sold listings, you're probably looking closer to like 35, 40. But yeah, to pick that up for £9, absolute no-brainer. I think I get £12 trading in for this one. So not only have I made £3, I've also got this rarer version to add to my collection. And with me now focusing on PS1 somewhat, to go out and find this in cash generators, yeah, man. Absolutely delighted with that. I've had a few decent finds in cash generators, guys, so always worth popping in. You never know what someone would have taken in there, right? And yeah, let me know if you've seen this one out and about before, guys. Didn't even know it existed. Love that.
Right, okay, so it's actually been 2 or 3 days since I recorded anything. It's been a real difficult couple of days for myself and my family. I'll quickly go into what's been happening. So it's been a testing month, really, 3 to 4 weeks. There's always been somebody in the house hasn't been well. As you guys know, I was suffering with something that started from mini RG. You probably bought it from school. You know how these things are if you've got kids. Mrs. RG had it, but you know, women deal with it better, don't they? So she was a lot better with it. But obviously more concerning was Mini Ghetto. So he was struggling for a couple of weeks just with sort of like, you know, symptoms of sort of same thing I had. We don't know whether it was COVID, some sort of chest infection, bronchitis, we don't know. But he was sort of having similar symptoms. We took him to the doctors and, you know, there's not really that much they can do. They gave us antibiotics, but then it kept getting worse even with the antibiotics. So we took him to A&E. So we went to A&E with him because we're on 111. Went to A&E, we were there for like 7 hours. They did some tests, they checked the vitals and everything, they make sure that he's drinking, because that was one of the things we were worried about. He wasn't drinking enough milk or eating. So yeah, about 7 hours later, they sent us home. They said just keep an eye on him, do this, this and this. Anyway, he just kept getting worse. So the next day, Mrs. RG took him to like a medical walk-in centre, and they were really concerned about him. So they tested his vitals and his oxygen was low. So they sort of like said, look, don't even go back to your car. We're going to send you in a taxi right now to the A&E gates. Now, obviously, when you hear things like that, it's very scary, you know, when a 7-month-old baby is concerned. So they said he was low on oxygen, sent him. Strange, surreal, because obviously just going back to the hospital, man, just brings back so many memories. If you guys are watching the vlogs 7 months ago, you'll know, right? Even like with his birth, it was a bit traumatic. So all that was like just come running back. So obviously it was very stressful. We were really concerned about him. And they kept him and Mrs. RG in overnight. Sort of, you know, force feeding him and just keeping an eye on him, keeping an eye on his oxygen intake and all that kind of thing. Thankfully, the next day, about midday, they let him out, and he's now been home. He's now into the second day of being home, and he's doing much better. He's definitely turned a corner. He's still ill. It's still like very taxing for myself, and in particular Mrs. RG, because he's still very clingy, still crying a lot. He's still not sleeping for more than like an hour and a half, 2 hours at a time, and it's still a real struggle to get milk in him, but he's loads better. He looks loads better in himself. He doesn't look as ill as he did. But like, yeah, just a really difficult experience. It's always the case when it's like babies, you know, when people can't talk for themselves, it always feels amplified when they're that age. And hearing things like lack of oxygen obviously is very scary, but just really glad that he's sort of turned a corner now. He's doing much better, thankfully. And yeah, we're delighted to have him home and delighted to have him on the mend. But yeah, just really wanted to make you guys aware of the situation, because I have, I think, alluded to a few times in this vlog that there will be a second game hunt, which won't be happening now. Obviously, the weeks have flown by, and I don't really want to be going too far from home right now. Also, the vlog's probably shorter in length than it normally would be. So yeah, just wanted to make you guys aware of everything that's happening. But like I say, more importantly, he seems to be on the mend, and hopefully, yeah, it'll be right as rain in no time. But I wanted to share with you the Nintendo Switch Black Friday pickups. Not Black Friday, I always say that. Prime Day deal pickups. So these I first mentioned on Wednesday's video. These have now arrived, obviously, a couple of days ago. So the first one that I wanted to show is Slave Zero X. This one's a 2024 Poppyworks developed 2.5D action game set in the biopunk world of Slave Zero. I think it was based in 1999. It's like very much like a beat 'em up, as you'll be seeing on screen now. I quite like the large sprites, and the camera work seems really cool as well. It seems like certain sections of the game, the camera will sort of like automatically move. Obviously, I've not played it yet, but that's what I gauge from the footage that I have seen of this game. It's one of them games I don't really want to know too much about. I just want to go into it sort of blind and just be intrigued by it. But everything about it just looks stylish, right? The gameplay, the art style, even the box art, just absolutely stunning. There was like a collector's edition of this in that sale as well, but I haven't got room for that. I ain't got the room for those big box things. So yeah, more than happy to just buy the standard edition. And I think this was like £18 in that sale. So yeah, really happy to add that one to my collection. And then this next one, of all the 3 Switch games I bought recently, because I bought Sea of Stars as well, it's probably the one that I'm most intrigued to play. And that is Art of Rally. So this racer was originally released in 2020, and it got a Nintendo Switch release just a year later. It's set during a golden era of rallying, I think during the early 80s, and I'm not a huge rally enthusiast. I don't profess to know much about the sport, but the game almost plays like with a slight story to it, and it kind of makes you aware that there was this thing called Group B, which was disbanded, I think, due to safety concerns back in the day, and this game kind of takes a look at what that would be like if it was never disbanded. So the evolution of Group B. I think it's a certain section of cars. Like I say, I'm not going to pretend I know about rally because I don't. But yeah, it kind of explores that. And then you have a career mode where you can play through different years. So you start out in like the early, I think it might be 70s, and then you work your way up through to late 80s. I think that's from what I've seen. But yeah, it looks really interesting. It's not your sort of standard racer. It's done in more of that kind of isometric view, very similar to like Micro Machines and games like that. 2 different modes. So there's the career mode, which is like just standard racing, and there's also like a free roam mode, which I think has got like a lot of like collector elements to it. You have to sort of explore certain regions and collect different collectibles throughout the way. So yeah, I've heard good things about this. My friend Gibbo was doing some live play of it on his YouTube channel. I'll put a link below to go and check him out. And he said he really enjoyed it. I think he actually finished this as well. So yeah, one that I've heard good things about. Also, it comes in a sleeve cover. I think this is like some sort of special edition. Yeah, deluxe edition. Obviously, I haven't opened my copy yet, but by the time you're seeing this, you'll probably be able to see the overlay on top. Looking at the back, it comes with a patch and a poster, which looks to contain like all the different cars that you can unlock throughout the game. So yeah, this is one I'm really excited to play. I love a good racer. It's just, I'm a bit picky when it comes to them, but when you find one that you love, yeah. I think the last one I fell in love with was probably Ridge Racer 5 on the 360. I remember just putting that in and straight away it just felt right, and like just loving the mechanics of it. So hopefully something similar will happen with Art of Rally. And yeah, so that is my Nintendo Switch Prime Day deal pickups. And yeah, just 2 more fantastic Switch games to add to the collection. And I think on next week's vlog we might move Switch around. I'm not sure yet. I think there's a few things that I was going to hopefully do this week, but obviously we haven't got time now in here in terms of moving a few bits around that I'm excited about. So we'll get to that as well as a lot of other good stuff on next week's vlog. But guys, I think that's going to do it. It's been a mad week for me, right? Full of ups and downs. But yeah, another week done, another vlog done. Hope you guys have enjoyed this one, even if it's probably shorter than what you're used to. But if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. If you want to support the channel further, if you want to get involved with the Discord and all the fantastic stuff that we've got going on over there, there'll be a link below to join the Ghetto Gang. But as always, play your games, keep it retro. Appreciate you all taking the time to watch. In a bit, take care of yourselves and your family. You sound like Darth Vader. Are you okay? Are you feeling better? Yeah? Right, say bye to everybody. Say bye-bye. Say thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. See you in a bit, everybody. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.